Welcome back, everyone, to the Bryk Breakdown. I hope everyone had a great Memorial Day weekend. I'm sure I did. Had some barbecue, great food, talked to my family. Yeah, it was a great weekend, 3-day weekend, so very exciting. Um, let's get right into the news. So, this just came out about an hour ago. Aaron Rodgers requested the Packers to fire their GM, Brian Gutekunst. They refused, so that's why he requested a trade in 2021. Um, this doesn't surprise me. Aaron Rodgers is just a weirdo. um, I understand his frustration too, because we all know that they just didn't like to draft first round wide receivers, and I can see Rodgers' frustration with the GM there. So, but at the same time, that's a really tall ask for a entire team to just fire their GM. So I can understand both sides on not wanting to do that. So what happened? He stayed in Green Bay, obviously, but at what cost? I mean, Devontae Adams walked, but now Aaron Rodgers is New York Jets. So I guess we'll see where that goes. Robert Saleh said a couple of things. He said that he's, quote, very optimistic that Breece Hall will be ready to go for week one. Also said that they're not intending to pursue DeAndre Hopkins because, quote, we love our current group. So there you go. D-Hop probably not going to New York. Deshaun Watson says that he's been in contact with DeAndre Hopkins. I saw on his Instagram story that he was in Houston, so that's interesting. Doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to the Texans, which I don't see why he would, in my opinion. Maybe he goes to Cleveland. I don't think he will. I think he's going to the Bills or the Chiefs. He's chasing the ring. Go get it, DeAndre Hopkins. Troy Aikman said he, quote, wouldn't rule out Tom Brady playing for the Raiders. So Tom Brady, known for coming out of retirement now. He's done it twice. Will he do it for the third time? Now that Jimmy Garoppolo, that's an interesting topic. The Jimmy Garoppolo whole situation. So when when it came out that the Raiders were getting Jimmy Garoppolo, the team really didn't say anything for like a week and a half or so. And what happened was about a week and a half went, and then they were like, yeah, we got him. And everyone was like, why did this take so long for the team to announce the whole situation? Like we talked about last week, it was because of Garoppolo's foot surgery he had, and people are now very concerned about Garoppolo to the point where he might not play. So that's why people are like, wow, the Raiders might just be tanking for Caleb Williams, or maybe they go get someone like Carson Wentz. I don't know. Or does Tom Brady just, come back and play for the Raiders, where he's now a minority owner, which I don't even know if that's legal. I would have to look that up, but like, can a minority owner play for his own team? I don't know. I guess. I don't know. All right, today we're going to break down the AFC North. This one's a lot tougher than the last two I did. I feel like the Browns and the Steelers were definitely the toughest to do. I think they're going to be a little bit better than what I projected. Not sure how Deshaun Watson's going to do in this offense. But having said that, he's going to have a full training camp, full OTAs, all that. So, hey, I hope he proves me wrong. Steelers, I have we'll see. I mean, I love Kenny Pickett, and I hope he proves me wrong. Don't know. I just don't know about their defense, really. I feel like their offense is set and ready to go, but I don't know about their defense. All right, let's talk about the Cleveland Browns. I have them going 8-9. Week 1, they play the Bengals. I have them losing. Week 2, they play the Steelers on Monday Night Football. I have them losing to the Steelers. Week 3, they play the Titans. I have them losing to the Titans. Week 4, against the Ravens at home. I have them losing. Week 5 is their bye week. Week 6, against the 49ers, I have them beating the 49ers. Week 7, in Indianapolis, I have them losing to the Colts. Week 8, against the Seahawks at home. At Seattle, I have them losing. Week 9, at home against the Cardinals, I have them beating the Cardinals. Week 10, at Baltimore, I have them beating the Ravens. So I have them splitting with the Ravens. Week 11, I have them beating the Steelers. So I have them, I have them splitting with the Steelers. Week 12, in Denver, I have them losing to the Broncos. Week 13, in Los Angeles against the Rams, I have them beating the Rams. Week 14, against the Jags, I have them losing to the Jags. Week 15, against the Bears, I have them winning. Week 16, in Texas, Deshaun Watson back in NRG Stadium. I have them beating the Texans. Week 17, I think this one's going to be close. This will be a great game. Week 17, against the New York Jets on Thursday Night Football, I have the Browns winning. I don't know. I have the Browns winning on that one. It's going to be close. I could be totally wrong, but I got the Browns winning that one. And then Week 18, in Cincinnati against the Bengals, I have them losing. So 8-9, the Browns end up. Like I said, Deshaun Watson, is he going to be back into his prime form? I don't know. Didn't look like he was last year. And again, I think that's because he missed, so many games and all of that. But we'll see. I think I think he'll do better than he was last year. But will he exceed expectations? Don't know. All right. The Pittsburgh Steelers also going 8-9. Week 1, they play the 49ers. I have them losing. Week 2, they beat the Browns. Week 3, I have them I have them losing to the Raiders on Sunday Night Football. Week 4, I have them beating the Texans. Week 5, I have them losing to the Ravens. Week 6 is their bye week. Week 7, in Carolina, I have them winning. Week 8, I have them losing to Jacksonville. I have Week 9, I have them losing to the Titans on Thursday Night Football. Week 10, I have them beating the Packers. Week 11, I have them losing to the Browns. Week 12, I have them losing to the Bengals. Week 13, I have them beating the Cardinals. Week 14, I have them beating the Patriots on Thursday Night Football. 15, I have them losing to the Colts. 16, I have them beating the Bengals. Completely could be wrong on that one. Bengals are a great team, but I think later in the season, I think they can split with the Bengals. Week 17, they lose to the Seahawks, and Week 18, they beat the Ravens. So they split they split there. Like I said, Steelers. I mean, Mike Tomlin's a great coach, always has been. I feel like this could be a big year for Kenny Pickett. I guess we'll have to see, but I think they have a little bit of a tougher schedule. But there's winnable games on this schedule, so we'll have to see. They have to be able to win a couple of games they are supposed to lose for me to be really excited about the Steelers. I want them to succeed. I really do. Next team we got the Baltimore Ravens. I have them going 12-5. Let's see my notes here. Week 1, they play the Houston Texans. I have them winning. Week 2 in Cincinnati, I have them losing to the Bengals. Week 3 against the Colts at home, that's a dub. Week 4 in Cleveland, that's a win. Week 5 in Pittsburgh, that's a win. So now they're what? 3, 4-1. Okay. Week 6 in London versus the Titans, I have them beating the Titans. Week 7 versus Detroit, I have them winning. Week 8 in Arizona against the Cardinals, I have them winning. Week 9, I have them losing to the Seahawks. Week 10, I have them losing to the Browns. Week 11, Thursday Night Football, at home against the Bengals, I have them beating the Bengals. So that's a split. Week 12, at LA against the Chargers, I have them beating the Chargers. Week 13 is a bye. Week 14 against the Rams, at home, I have them beating the Rams. Back-to-back primetime games. Week 15 at Jacksonville, Sunday Night Football, I have them beating Jacksonville. Week 16 at San Fran. Wow, back-to-back. Not only are they back-to-back, they're both away. That's crazy. At San Fran, Monday Night Football, that's a win. Week 17 against Miami, I have that as a loss. And Week 18 against the Steelers, I have that as a loss. So the Ravens just got a new offense coordinator for my Georgia Bulldogs, Todd Monken. I think he's going to help this Ravens offense a lot, which is good. Lamar Jackson just clearly got the bag. Congrats to him, well deserved. My only knock on Lamar Jackson is I don't really think he's that accurate. He hasn't shown me great accuracy yet, and I feel like that's his weakness. I hope he can figure it out. But other than that, this offense should be good. I mean, they just got Odell. They drafted Zay Flowers. So we'll have to see. Let's talk about the Bengals schedule real quick. Let's see. I have the Bengals going 13-4. They play week 1, the Cleveland Browns. I have them winning. Week 2, the Ravens. I have them winning. Week 3, Monday Night Football versus the Rams at home. That is the Super Bowl rematch. I have them beating the Rams. Week 4 in Tennessee versus the Titans. I have them winning. Week 5 at Arizona. I have them winning. Week 6 against the Seahawks, I have them winning. So I have them going 6-0 before their bye. So week 7, bye. Week 8 at San Fran, I have them winning. Week 9 versus the Buffalo Bills, Sunday Night Football, I have them losing. Week 10 versus Houston at home, I have them winning. Week 11, Thursday Night Football at Baltimore, have them losing. Week 12 at home against the Steelers, have them winning. Week 13 versus the Jags away, Monday Night Football, that's a win. Week 14 against Indianapolis Colts at home, that's a win. Week 15, this one's a toss-up. Week 15 against the Vikings, I have that as a loss. Could totally be a win. I just have that as a loss. Week 16 at Pittsburgh, that's a loss. Week 17 at Kansas City, I have that as a win. And Week 18 at home versus the Browns, I have that as a win. Bengals are going to be a great team this year. I have them. If you ask me, I think they can win the Super Bowl this year. They're a great team. I just think Joe Burrow is obviously clearly one of the best in the league. I really wanted them to beat the Rams that year in the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, they came up short, but I think it's the Bengals' turn now. They did a great job that year, but I think even last year they did a great job. But I think this year they're going to run the extra mile and go ahead and win the Super Bowl. That's just my take as of right now. It'll probably change. I don't know. But as of right now, I have the Bengals as one of my Super Bowl contenders for sure. I want to quickly go through the additions and losses for each team real quick. Give me a couple seconds while I come up with their stuff. Okay, no, that's not what I want. This is it. Here we go. All right, so let's talk about the Browns real quick. Their key losses. They lost Jacoby Brissett to the Commanders. That's okay. Taven Bryant to the Colts. Greedy Williams to my Philadelphia Eagles. Dearness Johnson, running back, to the Jags. Pharaoh Brown, tight end, to the Colts. I can't even pronounce this name. My apologies if I say it wrong. Hajalte Frohold, right guard, to the Cardinals. And Ben Still to the Cardinals, who they've added. They got Zadarius Smith from the Vikings. Dalvin Tomlinson from the Vikings. Banya Akronwo from the Texans. They got Elijah Moore from the Jets. Rodney McLeod from the Colts. Marquise Goodwin from the Seahawks. Tristan Hill from the Cardinals. Juan Thornhill from the Chiefs. Maurice Hurst from the 49ers. Jordan Akins from the Texans. Mike Ford from the Falcons. Josh Dobbs from the Titans. Wes Martin from the Commanders. And Colby Gossett from the Falcons. They also drafted, from what I remember, Cedric Tillman. I can look up who else they drafted. I don't remember who they took in the first round. Did they have a first round pick? I don't remember. Let's see. No, I don't think they did. I think Cedric Tillman was a second round pick. Oh, no, they only had a third. Oh, God. Why is that? Oh, I guess because of the Deshaun trade. Okay. Yeah, they took Cedric Tillman in the third. That's all that really matters, to be honest. All right. Let's look at the Steelers additions and losses. Let me look it up real quick. Okay, so the Steelers lost Devin Bush to the Seahawks, Cameron Sutton to the Lions, Terrell Edmonds to the Eagles, Malik Reed to the Dolphins, Trenton Scott to the Commanders, J.C. Hassenauer to the Giants, Steven Sims to the Texans, and that's it. Who they got? They got Allen Robinson from the Rams. They got Isaac Sumalo from my Eagles. He's great. Steelers fans will like him. Marcus Golden from the Cardinals. Patrick Peterson from the Vikings. London Roberts from the Dolphins. Chandon Sullivan from the Vikings. Nate Herbig from the Jets. He sucks. He's just not good. Okay. Keanu Neal from the Bucks. LaRaven Clark from the Titans. Tanner Muse from the Seahawks. Brandon Mann, the punter from the Jets. Bryden Fehoko from the Chargers. Manny Jones from the Cardinals. Cole Holcomb from the Commanders. And Armon Watts from the Bears. Yeah, I'm going to say the same stuff that I already said. I mean, I'm excited to see these Steelers. That's all I'm going to say, because don't know what they're going to be yet offensively. All right, let's see if I can just find the Ravens real quick. All right. The Baltimore Ravens. Let's see as it loads up here. It's taking its time. All right, the Ravens lost Calais Campbell to the Falcons, Chuck Clark to the Jets, Josh Oliver to the Vikings, Tristan Colin Castillo to the Jets, and Ben Powers to the Broncos. They got Nelson Aguilar from the Ravens. Who else? Angelo Blackson from the Bears, Rock Ya-Sin from the Raiders, Josh Johnson from the 49ers, Sam Mustipher from the Bears, and that's about it. They also obviously got Odell, and they drafted Zay Flowers. So, more weapons for Lamar. All right, one last time. We will look at the Bengals and who they got from their offseason, if I can find it. Why isn't it coming up? Oh, here it is. The Bengals lost Jesse Bates III to the Falcons, Von Bell to the Panthers, Hayden Hurst to the Panthers. I forgot about that. Didn't know about that. Trey Flowers to the Falcons, Brandon Allen to the 49ers. That's about it. The Orlando Brown they got from the Chiefs. Trevor Siemian from the Bears, Cody Ford from the Cardinals, Irv Smith from the Vikings, Terrell Basham from the Titans, Sidney Jones from the Raiders, Scott from the Rams. They also kept a couple of guys like Trent Taylor, Michael Thomas, their safety, Drew Sample, Samaje Perine. Oh no, they got sorry, they're both orange, so it was tough to read. But Samaje Perine went to the Broncos, so they lost Perine. And then, they still have some guys out there that are free agents like Eli Apple, Brandon Wilson, Clark Harris. Let's talk a little bit about their fantasy impact with each team. Clearly, with the Bengals, we have Joe Burrow. He's going to be a top quarterback, top 5 for sure. He's one of the best. Joe Mixon, not sure about his current situation yet. I know that they reopened his case, so I would not draft Joe Mixon in fantasy football as of right now because we don't know about his current legal situation. Obviously, Jamar Chase, top wide receiver. So, obviously draft him. He's going to have a great year. T. Higgins. I don't know how I feel about T. Higgins. I feel like I don't think I've drafted T. Higgins yet. Maybe that's why. But T. Higgins, clearly, in my opinion, the number 2 there. You got Tyler Boyd. That's the guy I'm really not interested in. He's the 3 there. whatever. He used to be really good when Chase wasn't there, but now Chase is there and so is Higgins. So, and they also have Irv Smith. Irv Smith, I'm sure will get a couple 100 yards and a couple touchdowns, but that's about it. Let's see. The Ravens fantasy impact. You obviously have Lamar. Great running aspects. Don't know how I feel about his accuracy, like I said. So I don't like him as a passer. Odell. Odell hasn't played in a long time, so that's my knock on him. So I can see him, not being as, maybe he lost a step, He did tear his ACL, so that's a thing. I hope the best for him, but I don't think he'll be on my fantasy team this year. Rashad Bateman. I like Bateman this year. I think he'll get the most targets, yards, touchdowns. Maybe not touchdowns, but yards for sure. Zay Flowers, not sure how he'll do. I don't think he'll be as fantasy viable as Bateman, Odell, or Andrews, which I'll get into now. Mark Andrews. Obviously, top 2 tight end, might be 1, might be 2. I think he'll be 2. But Lamar and Andrews is one of the best tight end quarterback connections in the league. J.K. Dobbins. Love J.K. Dobbins. This is the year for him to break out. This is a year removed from his injury, so I think he'll do, or 2, I guess it's really 2 years removed from his injury, but I think he'll be back and better than ever. Let's look at the Steelers with their fantasy. You obviously have Kenny Pickett. Some like him, some hate him, some love him, some hate him. I'm a Kenny Pickett truther, so I have him on my dynasty team. I hope he really does well. You have George Pickens. Love him. Pickett and Pickens. That's going to be the future of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Write that down. Najee Harris. I think Najee Harris is a top guy, clearly. I think now that they have a better offensive line, he'll do better. So keep an eye on Najee Harris. Deontay Johnson, not sure how I feel about him. I feel like he just kind of underperforms. I like Pickens more than Deontay Johnson. Pat Freiermuth. I like him. I think Pickett and him will be able to start a little bit of a connection this year. So I could see Pat Freiermuth be on my fantasy team this year. All right, last but not least, the Cleveland Browns. You clearly have Deshaun Watson. Will he perform like he did when he was in Houston? I don't know. Maybe. It's a big maybe on Watson. So, it's either you're all in or you're all out on him. There's no real big in between. Or maybe you're just hopeful. Amari Cooper, I'm not a big fan. I feel like he's kind of just riding it out at this point. Not really that fantasy viable for me. They also have Elijah Moore. I'm more interested in him because I think he'll have a good amount of targets this year. Nick Chubb. I'm a big Nick Chubb guy. Love Nick Chubb. I think that if Nick Chubb is the only back there, he may be the number 1 running back in fantasy football. Kareem Hunt, still a free agent. It's not looking like he's going to return to the Browns. I feel like he's going to go to the Broncos, in my opinion. But if Kareem Hunt does not go back to the Browns, Nick Chubb is going to be a menace to deal with, force to be reckoned with. So keep an eye on Kareem Hunt's free agency situation. Cedric Tillman they drafted. I have him in my Dynasty League. Not sure how he'll do. I hope he does great. But I don't know how many targets he'll be getting. Because what I was just seeing on Twitter was that Deshaun Watson throwing the ball a lot to Marquise Goodwin, who I didn't even know was on the Browns, and I didn't even know he was still playing football. So if you're in a Dynasty League, You might want to look at picking up Marquise Goodwin if he's throwing the long ball to him. He was throwing deep passes to him. Check it out on Twitter. I'm sure you'll see it on there. Let's see. Oh, and David Njoku. I'm out on David Njoku. I tried. I tried my best. I can't do it anymore. I just can't. I don't have faith anymore. But hey, if you want to go for it, go for it. All right. So today what I thought would be fun would be to list TV characters and how they would play fantasy football. All right, so this is the top 10 list this is the top 10 list of TV characters playing fantasy football. Coming in at number 10, I have Monica Geller from Friends. I think Monica Geller is clearly a competitive woman. She's always butting heads with her brother and her friends when it comes to competition. So I think she would make a great fantasy football player. I think she would get really into it, and that would be a lot of fun to watch, in my opinion. She was one of the best on that show. Coming in at number 9, I have Cosmo Kramer from Seinfeld. Kramer's the type of guy to get someone off of waivers of like after week 1 or 2 and win the whole thing, win the championship. Like, he is just a lucky guy. Or he would like draft some no name that no one's ever heard of and then win it all. And he would be like great, you know. Kramer's one of the best on that show, and that's why I think a lot of luck is involved with Kramer's fantasy football career. Number 8, I have Lily Aldrin from How I Met Your Mother. I feel like Lily just is ready to kick back a beer and watch Red Zone all day and enjoy her fantasy football. Like, I think she would just really enjoy it. I don't know. That's just how I feel. I feel like she's kind of just like one of the boys, you know. That's just how I feel. She likes stuff like that. So number 7, I have Ben Wyatt from Parks and Recreation. I feel like Ben would get into it if he got like all the stats and would track guys, you know, yards per catch or yards per run and all that. And I think he would get really into it. And I don't know. I think he would be good at it. So that's why Ben Wyatt is my 7. Number 6, Amy Farrah Fowler from The Big Bang Theory. Amy Farrah Fowler is clearly one of the smartest people in television, even though she's fictional. But I think she would really put a science to drafting her team and making trades and picking up, you know, people off the waiver wire. And I think that would have been really funny to watch, because she is a really funny and likable character, and to see her try to do something a little bit out of the ordinary for her would have been funny to watch, because I could see her getting a little bit frustrated, even though the math and science, and I'm sure they would have came up with a whole formula on it in that show. But yeah, because you never know in fantasy, someone gets hurt and then your season could be over. So I feel like that they might like overlook something like that in that type of show. All right, number 5, I have Dwight Schrute from The Office. I feel like Dwight would be like big or go home, you know. You know, I feel like his team could be really top heavy, and he could draft like I feel like he would draft like all quarterbacks and then like just try to trade them, kind of like what he did with the doll in the show. He just sold them all for profit. Like, I feel like Dwight would just try to trade a lot in the game, which would have been really fun to watch. Dwight Schrute at number 5. Number 4, I have Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones. Tyrion Lannister got himself out of everything in that show, and I feel like he would have a couple close wins and make his way to the top, but not win it all. I feel like he's also the kind of guy that is constantly offering horrible trades to people. Tyrion Lannister, one of the best on that show, at number 4. Number 3, I have Tony Soprano from The Sopranos. I think Tony Soprano would kind of make you an offer you can't refuse. And he was a big fan of football in the show, so it would have been pretty neat to see him play fantasy football. But I think Tony Soprano, number 3, solid spot. Number 2, I have Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes, obviously another smart person in television. I think he would kind of just think things through in a way that not many people normally do, and he would draft guys that have great upside, So that's why I have Sherlock Holmes at number 2. And number 1, how could I not? My man, Walter White, Heisenberg from Breaking Bad. I feel like Walter White would be an unbelievable fantasy football player. That man would make deals constantly. He would be so obsessed with it. He would get really into it. I think he could do he would get really involved in the math and and I'm sure he would make it into a science. I love Walter White playing fantasy football. I think that would be such a funny thing to see. Walter White. I mean, come on. He's one of the smartest. He's a really smart guy, clearly. And I think he'll do just fine playing fantasy football. I can see him making a lot of money doing that. All right. That's going to end it. I'm just going to do the quote of the day, and that'll be it for the podcast. If you're new here, I always like to close it out with the quote of the day because I think it's nice. It's a nice way to end it. Today's quote of the day is, "Gratitude is the fairest blossom which springs from the soul," from Henry Ward Beecher. That's going to be it for today. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. If you could follow the podcast on all platforms at Bryk Breakdown, that's BRYK Breakdown, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. I'm on everything, so give me a follow. You can also follow myself, my personal, at BryckMatt on Twitter, BRYKMATT. Thank you guys for listening, and have a great day.